All right. All right, guys. So welcome to this ADOS formula streak training that's about to go down. I am so excited to be sharing this stuff with you. And thank you guys so much for getting on live. I know it's Tuesday at 11 a.m., maybe a little bit earlier for a lot of you guys, but it's 11 a.m. on the East Coast. So I really appreciate you guys hopping on. I said in the beginning, if you don't have a notebook, please grab one. If you make sure you have, a pen that works, all that stuff, so you can write everything down. I'm going to be going over, what Josh wants me to go over is kind of this whole how to build your contact list, how to contact people. And then I'm going to go through how to use Google Streak. Some of you are I don't know how to use Google Streak. I'm not going to go so in depth about it because I do actually have, because I asked Josh, I was like, do you want me to share that I have this 2-hour webinar I did over the weekend a few months back for my team that literally goes step by step, how to set it up, how to do everything. And you do it on the call. So when you are done with Google, or when you're done with the webinar, you already have Google Streak set up, which is pretty awesome. So I will share that with him, and he's going to share that in the page. So don't worry as I'm going through it if it's either confusing or you're like, I have no idea what's going on. Don't worry, we're going to go through all of that stuff. But it would take way too long for me to go through all of that anyway. But for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Alexis Doss. I have been a Beachbody coach for a little over 4 years. And all the stuff I'm going to teach you, I was not doing in the beginning of my business. So whether you're a new coach or you've been a coach for a few years, wherever you are in your business, don't feel like, you beat yourself up for not doing this stuff. I literally was like a pen and paper, just figuring it all out, doing random things each day for the first year and a half of my business. So what I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to keep looking at my phone. I'm not texting. I just have notes in here because I am super scattered brain. So if I don't have something, I'll be all over the place. But I really want to make it clear to you guys that this is not the end all be all of what you should be doing. This is, for me, it's my main thing. And for some of you guys, you might like it and be like, oh my gosh, this is my jam. I want to do this all the time. Other of you might be like, I like it, but I don't think it's exactly what I want to do. My biggest tip is that you don't just do this and throw everything out the window. You should be doing, your cold invites, your invites every day, all your other things. This is just something, at least for me, it's solidified. It's something I can really kind of control, how many people I'm talking to and all of that stuff. So I just want to make sure you guys know, and Josh wanted me to make sure I point out that this is not just something you learn and then throw everything else out the window. You know what I mean? So, but with this, I tell my team that, because what I'm first going to do is talk to you guys about how I build my contact list, because in order to do this process, you have to have some kind of contact list. I build my contact list every week, and I teach my team to do the same. We call it our 5th vital behavior. You guys know about the first 3 vital behaviors and the new 4th one, which is recognition. This 5th one, I call building a contact list, because so many new coaches, especially coaches that are working another full-time job, they sit down at their desk when they do have time, and then they're like, okay, who in the world am I going to message? And they just have no idea, and they're just randomly picking these 3 people that liked their post yesterday, and then just going through their friends list and just being eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I pick you. Which is still good when you're doing cold invites. I always cold invite to people who like my posts on Facebook. That's still important. But with this list, I teach my team to build, in theory, I say minimum, you should add, I say 20, but minimum 10, because if you want to hit Success Club, in theory, if you've read the book Go for No, for every 10 people you talk to, you're going to hear 9 no's, you're going to get 1 yes. So if you want to help 3 people to hit Success Club every month, minimum 10 people each week will give you 40 people each, or for the full month, which should pretty much cover you. So I have some slides I'm going to share with you. Like I said, first we're going to talk about the contact list. Then I'm going to go over the actual ADOS formula. And then I'm going to go into, because I'm going to talk while I'm teaching the formula about how to track it, or how I track it. But I'm not going to go into the actual how-to of it until we go into the Google Streak part. And if you guys have any questions, there will be a Q&A at the end. I am really squirrel, so I'm going to try not to answer. I probably will because I can't help it, but I'll try not to answer. You can still ask questions. Don't feel like you can't ask questions, because I'm the kind of person that will forget. So totally type in the chat box if you forget, or if you are the kind of person that's going to forget. I'll totally scroll through at the end and answer everyone's questions. But I like questions. Don't be afraid to ask them. Okay. All right. So sometimes my computer does not like to listen to me. All right. Hopefully everybody can see that. If not, then we'll have a problem. Okay. So, getting into first about how to build a contact list weekly. So I'm going to first go into the obvious hashtags. That's really how I first started finding people. And then the second part is a little bit more, not intricate, but it's kind of my weird, strange way of finding people. And I like teaching other people how to do it. My team likes it, so I like to teach you guys. And what I'm actually going to do is share my phone screen with you before we move on. But first, obviously, finding people through hashtags is a great way to build your contact list. And like I said, you want to build this list. I sit down every Sunday before the week starts. I tell my team to do the same. Sit down for 30, even if you don't work on Sundays, sit down for 30 minutes to an hour and just, tell your family, I'm going to do this little 30 minutes to an hour just so I have my contact list for the week, and make your list of 10. Some of my coaches are doing 60 people a week. It depends on what your goals are. If you're like, I want to go hard, I want to, do a bunch, then do that. But minimum 10. I suggest the average be like 20 to 30. But if you want to, I wouldn't suggest any more than like 60. That's going to be a lot, because you're also, again, going to be doing other things like Facebook groups and all of that stuff. This is strictly just Instagram. So with hashtags, everybody always asks, what hashtags do I go through? I highly recommend that you do not use fitness, clean eating, all that super basic stuff. You want to get really specific to what is your niche market, what is your target market. And I personally find it's really strange that going through like food products or like specific brands that I like are really, really helpful. So instead of just doing like protein bar, I love RX bars, Lara bars. If you like Quest bars, like going through those, I find that the people that use those hashtags and share those pictures, especially if you like those things, I feel like it's always just easier for me to find people. I don't know. That's just the way it is. If you're a yoga mom, if you're a cat mom, if you're a mom of twins, if you just turned 30, you can do, 30 is the new 20, whatever it is. I do suggest trying to pick hashtags that are still somewhat related to health and fitness, because you can still do this process of just meeting people, but it's a little bit easier if you kind of find people that are already slightly posting about health and fitness anyway. Another little sneaky thing that I do is using hashtags that represent a product or a thing that costs a little bit of extra money in terms of health and fitness. Because if somebody, like for example, Vitamix, Lululemon, a $400 blender and a $100 pair of yoga pants, people who are buying those things are willing to invest that much money into a health and fitness product. So they're probably going to be more likely to invest in a $160 challenge pack. It's not like I'm using them for their money. I'm just like, these people rock. They understand that, if you want a good quality product, you're going to invest a little bit more money in it. They're going to understand that Shakeology is worth that $130 price. So that's just kind of like a side thing. So I really quickly want to share with you my screen. Hopefully this works. Sometimes it wants to work, sometimes it doesn't. But okay, let's try this. Oh, I thought I already had it up. All right, bear with me for a second. Usually Zoom likes to run slow. Here it goes. All right, if anybody wants to know what this is, in case they want to use it for like team calls and stuff, it's called Nearing 360. I think it's like $14 for like the year, and you literally can show your phone screen, which is pretty cool. Okay. All right, so this is another way I find people. It's really strange, so bear with me. I have another video I can share with Josh that kind of explains it a little bit more. But anyway, here we go. So the way I build my contact list, and this is really the main way I do it. I don't really do hashtags anymore. Occasionally I do. But so when you go to Instagram and you go to the search part, this part right here, and you search, it's the main page. It's videos you may like. So Instagram is showing you things that you may like. So what I do is I look for a picture that looks like it's like one of those really fancy Instagrams that just has like 15,000 likes on the picture. And I'm going to explain why. So let's find something. So let's see how many likes. Okay, this is perfect. This girl has 6,644 likes on her picture. So you can see that. So what you can do is you can actually click on the likes. And for some reason, I don't know why, I think it's because it's showing you pictures that you may like. What it also does on Instagram is the first like 15 to 30 people on the likes of that picture, because your profile is health and fitness, all the first 15 to 30 people are all health and fitness people. So you can tell, like My Fit Journey, like all these people, you can totally tell are health and fitness people. So what I do is I literally follow like the first 15 to 30 people. I just follow everybody, and just bear with me. I'm going to explain why. So I just follow. Okay. So then I do that like once a week. I really only follow like 30 to 40 new people. I don't follow a ton, because then what I do is I go, I keep clicking on my screen, like I can click there. So then what I do on Sunday, when I go to build my contact list, I go to my page. Then what I do is I click on following. So not the people that followed me back. I'm not worried about that. I click on following. So just the people that I followed. I click on that, and then I scroll down, and because I'm only following like 30 new people a week, all those people are going to be there. Now I may have followed a few people throughout the week new, but I scroll back, and I usually honestly find the person that I left off on. So I have like a marker. You can do it in your notebook or wherever you track stuff. And I'll write, like, let's say I left off at this girl. I'll write her name down, so I know I can just kind of scroll a little bit and find her name and be like, okay, that's the last person I left off. So everybody underneath there, I've already covered. So then what I do is I go through each person, click on each person. I quickly look at their page. This girl's absolutely perfect. I look, I see, 1, she's not a Beachbody coach. 2, is she in a different country? You know, obviously this girl's not. She's 21. She's from Connecticut. She already does BBG. Now, a lot of people always ask, do you pick people who are already doing something else? It depends. I do not go after people that are doing It Works, Thrive, all that stuff, because you have to remember they are lifers of that specific thing. Now, BBG, sometimes I've gotten people to switch over, but like if it's It Works, nobody's going to come to you as a Beachbody coach and get you to switch over to It Works. They just won't. So you have to remember other people are going to be that same way. But with BBG, it's a little bit different. So this girl's absolutely perfect. So then what I do, if I find somebody that's perfect, and I scroll a little bit, you know, make sure she's not posting about Shakeology, like she's already a coach, then I write down her Instagram handle. And I do that with each person until I have my 20 to 30, 40 names. And then if I ever find somebody that, like this girl, she's from Thailand, not going to pick her. So I unfollow, and this helps because I'm going to be following, sorry, that's my friend. Because I'm going to be following 30, 40 new people each week. I don't want my following, and sometimes I follow like 100 new people a week. It depends on how much you want to do. But I don't want my following number to be like 10,000 by like the end of the year. You know what I mean? So that's my way of weeding people out. So I do that, and I go boom, 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 boom. And it's literally so easy to find people because I'm just following a bunch of people at some time in the week. And then on Sunday when I build my contact list, I just go click, unfollow, click, follow, or keep following. And I stay following of the people that I keep, and I unfollow the people that I'm not interested in. And if I ever find somebody who's like a personal page and they're not posting health and fitness, I also unfollow them. And it totally depends, whatever is your target market, blah, blah, blah. I hope that makes sense. My team loves it. I feel like it's so easy to find people, and that's literally how I build my contact list. I find a lot of coaches that way too. But when you're building this list, another thing I do really quick is that when I'm building the list, if I ever find somebody that, when you build your contact list, you should have like 80% of those people be just challengers, people who you're going to just invite to what I do is I invite to a clean eating group first and then invite to a challenge group. But there should also be people, like 20% of that list should be coach people who, you know, like there shouldn't always only be people you're inviting to challenge groups. There should be people that you're going to invite to coaching. So I put a C next to their name. So when I put them in Google Streak, and it's what I'm going to explain later, I know that within like just like 2 to 3 weeks, I'm going to just straight up invite them to coaching. I'm not going to bother inviting them to anything else, because you can tell when someone's page is just like killing it. They already have like a decent amount of followers. They look like they really know what they're doing. They probably don't even need a challenge group, and maybe they do. You never know. But I know I'm going to put a C next to their name because they're going to get a coach invite from me before they get anything else. Okay. So that's really how I build my contact list on Instagram. There's tons of ways you can do it, but those are kind of just my really quick ways of doing it. Okay. All right, this is just, I've done this presentation before, and we're going to talk about this, but before moving on with teaching you guys this ADOS formula, you have to be tracking, or this isn't going to work. You cannot do this with pen and paper. I mean, I'm sure you could probably figure it out, but you have to be using some kind of tracking system. Before I started using Google Streak, I struggled to hit Success Club 5. I hit Success Club minimum 20 every single month because I'm doing this, and I feel like I'm so less stressed. I'm less frustrated. And because you do this and you track things and you know what's going on, you become less frustrated with your business, which makes it easier to work your business, which makes you not burn out as quickly. Okay. So once you have your list, let's say you have your list of your 30 people, the next thing you're going to do is start the conversation. And what I do with that is send an initial message. For those of you who don't know how to direct message, I know a lot of you do, but if you don't, you go to the main page. There's this little like box thingy. It's how you send a message. You hit plus, you put the person's Instagram handle, you type their, or you click send message, put their Instagram handle, and then send a message. I've changed this message a bunch of times. I know you guys can probably see my message. Please do not use my same message, because I've gotten messages from people when I've sent my message saying, I just got the same message from somebody else. They've screenshot it, sent it to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know that person. And it's not like I'm going to chase you down and beat you up, but the way I speak, I say the word dope and stuff like that. I know a lot of you guys don't say that. So find the same way to say this message, and I'm going to kind of give you an idea of it, but in your own words. So basically what the message is just saying, oh my gosh, your page is so awesome. So you can say, my message is usually like, can I say how much I love your page? Like when I first started my Instagram, I love just looking through hashtags to find people who are inspirational, and I just came across yours, or your name just popped up in my newsfeed, and I just absolutely love your page. Like, keep killing it, or keep doing an awesome job. I'm just and I'm sending the same message to each person. It's not that I'm being fake. It's not that I'm, just trying to get the message out to a bunch of people. I'm going to continue the conversation individually with each person, but it's easiest to just send this message because I pick these people for a reason. You wrote down their Instagram name because you like their page. So that's what I do. So then I send that message to each person. Now, little side note, with the way Instagram works, you can only send a certain amount of messages to each person at a time. So usually once I build my contact list and then I copy and paste each message to each person, sometimes it lets me send 12 at a time. Sometimes it lets me send 30. So it kind of all depends. So what I do is I send and you'll know when you can't send anymore, when you send a message and next to this little message right here, it has like a red exclamation point. Then you know Instagram's kind of like, it doesn't like shut down your account. It just kind of stops you for a little bit. What I do is if I send as many as I can, and then I go back like an hour later, or like, I try to send them all before the week starts, and then just send them all till I'm done. That's why you don't really need to be doing 60, because it might take you a little bit. I send them all in one day. If you want, you can send 10 a day to just start the conversation. But I like to just send them all, so then I'm done. I don't have to worry about building a contact list throughout the week. I don't have to worry about messaging anybody, like new people throughout the week. All I'm doing throughout the week is just starting to build relationships. That's all I do. So that's kind of how that goes. Okay, so step 2 is forming. This is where you just be real and get to know them. So once they respond, which is usually something like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You're so awesome. Then I will be like, of course, I love spreading positivity, blah, blah, blah. So then from there, I just ask them a question based off something on their page. So then I go back to their page really quick and I look to see something they recently posted. So it's usually something like, oh, of course I love spreading positivity. By the way, where did you get those leggings? They are so cute. Or I've been wanting to try out that cold brew. How is it? Or, oh my gosh, you're from Boston. I heard it's so pretty there. Have you always lived there? Always finish with a question so they can answer it with a response. So it's just from there, I'm literally just trying to get to know them. People love talking about themselves, and we're both health and fitness Instagrams. You don't have to necessarily specifically talk about health and fitness. I'm just trying to get to know them, especially girls. Most of the time, especially if they're nice, like girls are totally, especially on Instagram, like Facebook might be a little bit different, but Instagram, especially the fitness and health Instagrams, I find that everybody usually responds really, really well to that stuff. Sometimes you might just get like a heart or like a thumbs up. And sometimes you have to use your intuition to figure out, do I really want to carry this conversation, or do I just want to stop carrying the conversation? Everybody also always asks, what do I do if they didn't respond? All I do is I comment on their picture. So like 2 days later, and this is what we're going to talk about in Streak in terms of reminding yourself. So when I check back 2 days later to see if they respond, if they didn't respond to my message, I go to a picture on their page and comment and say, hey there, just sent you a direct message on here. Not sure if you saw it. Either way, your page is awesome. And I just comment on a picture. And then I add it to Streak and blah, 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 do all that stuff, but I'm going to talk about that, so don't worry. But don't think if someone ignores your first message that they are just ignoring you in general. A lot of times, almost all the time, if you send 30 messages, probably only 8 people are going to respond. And it's because 1, a lot of people don't realize there's direct messaging in Instagram. 2, some people, I don't know, you could be a mom and you message another mom and their baby just puked on the dog and they opened your message and then ran to go fix whatever the problem was, and they totally just forgot to respond to your message. So please do not take it personally if somebody doesn't respond, because it's just going to drive you insane. Okay, So step 3 is once you've talked to them back and forth, and this is why I love Instagram stories, is because each 2 to 3 days when I go to check back in with the conversation with the person, it's so instead of just commenting on somebody's stuff, which you totally can do, I like to respond to their Instagram stories because it sends it as a message and it feels a bit more personable than just somebody, because there's 10 people commenting on people's pictures. I want to be that someone that actually just comments on their Instagram stories so they get a little message instead of just a comment. So then after I've done that for about a week, I send them a message that says, oh, by the way, do you have a Facebook or a Snapchat? I would love, to stay connected with somebody like you. I love to surround myself with positive people. I believe, what you put out is what you get back. And so many people are usually like, oh my God, yes, I feel the same way, blah, blah, blah. And then now I usually ask for Snapchat, but I don't use Snapchat as much as I used to, but I still ask for it anyway, because some people have a Snapchat but not Facebook, and I just feel like being able to Snapchat someone is a little bit more personable than just commenting on their Instagram stuff. So, and then some people don't have a Facebook. Everybody always asks that. What do I do if they don't have a Facebook? Then just continue to build a relationship on Instagram. Do the same thing that you would do on Facebook. Just keep conversating with them on Instagram. So then I move them over to there. And then step 4 is, once you have them over to Facebook, is to just get to know them more and get over the fear and invite. I usually send an invite within 2 to 3 weeks of moving them over to Facebook. Well, 2 to 3 weeks total of knowing them. So a week of messaging them and commenting on their stuff on Instagram. And then once they're on Facebook, wait another 2 to 3 weeks, just another week or 2. So full 3 weeks before I invite them. And a few things before I go into the next part. One, everybody always asks, well, how do I get the conversation to move over to health and fitness so then I can invite them to something? I have never, in the 4 years I've worked in Beachbody, ever waited for someone to bring up the fact that they needed health and fitness for me to invite them to anything. I just don't. And it's because I invite to a clean eating group first, or a free group, whatever kind of free group we have going on, before I ever invite them to a challenge group. Now, that's separate from my cold invites. So if somebody likes my posts on Facebook, sometimes I'll send somebody a cold invite and says, hey, I know this might be random, but I would like to know if you'd be interested in joining my accountability group, blah, blah, blah. But in terms of this process, I always invite to a clean eating group first. And the reason I do that is because, one, especially for new coaches, it's super easy to invite to something that is free. So if you have a fear of inviting someone to buy a $160 challenge pack, just invite them to a clean eating group. And if you're not running a clean eating group, start running either a free clean eating group or a free other kind of group. Don't feel like you have to do it on your own. Pair up with other coaches and make it happen, because it's just going to help the process. So what I do is I invite them to a clean eating group. And I don't wait for the conversation to move to health and fitness, because what I've done is I've met them on Instagram. I've gotten to know them on Facebook. I commented on their Facebook stuff. I sent them a message about stuff on Facebook, just asking them questions, building a relationship. And when I invite to a clean eating group, I send everyone the same kind of message, which looks something like this. Hey, I don't know if you'd be interested in this kind of thing. Or you can even be like, oh, by the way, girl, I meant to message you. I know we were just talking the other day, but I meant to ask if you'd be interested in, I have a 5-day free clean eating group. It starts on Monday. Whatever you have going on, I change this part usually. Like, I have vacation coming up. Like, me personally, I'm going to a music festival in a month. So I've been adding that to my thing. I'm going to a music festival, and I know I want to feel good. I don't want to, be bloated, blah, blah, blah. You get a free grocery list, a free meal plan, all that stuff. I'm adding everybody on Friday. Let me know if you'd be interested. If not, no worries. And then, because you're just starting it like, oh, by the way, I meant to mention, because everybody wants health and fitness. You don't have to wait to move the conversation over to health and fitness for you to invite. Because if you do, you're just going to stress out, whatever. I literally take this invite and copy and paste it and send it to everybody that I did this initial ADOS formula with last month. So just this past Wednesday, because my clean eating group just started this Monday, because I do the same process same calendar every month. First week is nothing. Second week is my clean eating group. Third week on the Thursday is my coach sneak peek. And then the last week of the month is my challenge group. So because I follow that same process, it makes it super easy. And I don't invite every day with this process. I do cold invites, but with this process, I only invite usually 1 to 2 times a month, because on Wednesday, because I add everybody on Friday, on Wednesday, I invite everyone to my clean eating group that's going to be on Monday. And I send this invite to everybody that I did this process with the month before, because I built relationships with all these people. And I don't look for the conversations that like did well or whatever. I just send the invite and say, hey, by the way, I know we were just talking recently, blah, blah, blah. And almost everybody wants more information. So once I invite everybody to a clean eating group, they go through the group. And on Saturday, I do check in with them obviously throughout the week, but then on Saturday, once the 5-day free clean eating group is over, I send everyone a voice message. And I highly suggest you send everyone a voice message because it's more personable. They can hear the inflection in your voice. If you're scared of it, just do it and get over the fear. Because the cool thing about doing it is once you record one good message, there's a button in Facebook Messenger that like next to the mess, or now it's updated. So if you hold it, it'll give you the option at the bottom that says share, and you literally can share your voice message with the 40 people that were in your clean eating group. And I go, share, type each person's name, boom, 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 takes me maybe 5 minutes, and I've already invited 40 people to my challenge group, just like that. And it's basically something that says like, hey girl, thank you so much for being a part of my clean eating group. I hope that you found it helpful. I love running these every month. I wanted to let you know though, because I always let my clean eating challengers know first, me and my team are going to be running this a little bit more involved challenge or accountability group at the end of the month. We work on health, we work on fitness, and we work on personal development because I think that's so important to really work on your mindset. It's a little bit more involved. It's actually not on Facebook. It's through this really cool app. I can give you more information if you'd like. No worries if not, blah, 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 blah. Let me know. And then most people at least want more information. And then to be honest, a lot of people do not say yes right away, which most of the time happens, but they are always my yeses in month 2 and month 3 and month 4 after I've done this process. So that's what I do. So that's basically my process. That is the same process I follow with every single person all the time, besides my cold invites and besides my other stuff. Literally the process I follow with everybody. It makes it so easy. I don't stress about who to invite and where and where to move the conversation. I just do it. And then also with the people that you put on your list that you put a C next to, within the 2 to 3 weeks of you getting to know them, following their page, liking their stuff, talking to them on Facebook, talking to them on Instagram, messaging, Snapchatting, whatever you do, then I send, because if you're wanting to build your team and you're not sending coach invites, I'm sorry, you will not build your business. You just won't. You can do challenger to coach. That's very important, and that should be the majority of your stuff. But you have to be sending some coach invites throughout the month. So my coach invite looks like this. And again, please do not steal my exact wording. So my thing just says, and again, I do not wait for the right time to send this message. I just send it randomly. So I say, hey, can I ask you a question? I'm sure you've been asked this before, but I just feel this vibe from you. I've been following your story for a while, which is dope. I seriously think you would make such an amazing coach inspiring others. I'd love to have you a part of my tribe. I've been building this Good Vibe tribe for 4 years. I feel like you'd fit right in. I know you're probably like, what in the world are you talking about? But seriously, I'd love to talk to you about it. If not, no problem. Just wanted to reach out to you. So many people are at least like, oh my God, thank you so much. That means so much. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'd love to know more information. So those are kind of how I kind of do that process with everything. I don't know why that just did that. Okay. So that's really my process. That's how I do everything. I hope that made sense. And you can really kind of word everything however you want, do all, your own stuff. How you go, oh, I did that. He told me to do that in 30 minutes. That was good. So that's really my whole ADOS process. So what I'm going to teach you guys next is how to kind of do all of this within Streak. Because if you need to remember to check in with this person and invite this person, how in the world are you going to do it if you are doing it through pen and paper? And I'm not making fun of anybody because, again, guys, remember, I was doing this for 1.5 years of my business, just pen and paper, like sheets of so many things, losing stuff, losing track of people. I would check my messages and there would be somebody that said like yes to joining a challenge group and I forgot to get back to them, Yeah, so it's just, oh gosh, it's so important. So, okay. So I want to bring up, I think I have it in here. I do not. Okay. I thought I already had it up. So let me pull up my Google Streak. And I want to remind you that I have this 2-hour webinar and it's a little bit of time, but you can do plan some time over the weekend, whenever you can, to watch it and get it done and have everything all set and ready. Sorry. The computer runs slow whenever I'm on Zoom. You can do it, computer. I believe in you. All right, let's give it a second. I don't have, here we go. Okay, it's gonna take a second to load. But before I get into Google Streak, I just have some things to talk about. Number 1, requirements to have Google Streak. Number 1, you must have a Gmail account. You cannot use Google Streak if you have a Hotmail, Yahoo, AOL, you just can't. So I've had tons of people that love this idea and set up a Gmail account in terms of that. What did someone say? See, this is, yeah, well, I'm going to give it to Josh and he can share it whenever, or I can share it after. But I'll ask him right after I do this call if he wants me to share it today. But I'll do that if he wants me to. Number 2 requirement, you must use Google Chrome as your browser. So this is Google Chrome. If you're using Firefox or Safari, please use Google Chrome. Number 1, it's the fastest. 2, it has so many amazing extensions to help you with your business. Like I use tons of extensions and extensions are just like things you can add on that like do fancy cool things within Google Chrome that just help you. So have to have a Gmail account, have to have Google Chrome. And then once you have all of those, you have to go to Google and then Google Streak CRM, and it'll give you the extension, because Google Streak is actually an extension that attaches to your Google Chrome and attaches, so it's like this right here. It attaches to your account and lets you use Google Streak. Okay, so again, there's a lot of stuff within Google Streak, and I'm not going to go through each itty bitty detail. The webinar does that. So if you're looking through something, you're like, wait, what's that? Wait, what's that? I promise the webinar will go through it, but I'll try to be as clear and concise as I can. So what Google Streak looks like, and I'm going to just show you one of them for right now because we're really just focusing on Instagram. So what Google Streak looks like is this. Now everybody has different colors, different wording, different everything. All it is a way for you to track your contacts and keep notes with what they're doing and whatnot. So I have different stages. So this is considered a pipeline. I have different pipelines, as you see on the left-hand side. I have an email pipeline, Facebook contacts, Instagram, my Beachbody leads, my coaches, my like page, one of my groups that I have on Facebook, people who are in my program, they buy programs or the customers that are under me, and then Snapchat people. But I really want you to focus on, and I talk about it in the webinar, just email, Instagram, and Facebook. That's all. But today we're really just going to focus on Instagram. So these are pipelines. What these are up here are stages. Stages are just the stages that each person is in. Now, you can keep it super simple and just do one stage. Because honestly, I have like 263 people in my initial contact, but like these people, like I've been talking to this girl through text. She's not an initial contact. I just forget to move people over to the stage. So if you want to keep it super simple and I would suggest having a contacted one, because what I do with contacted is if I talk to somebody and then they just are just like super not interested, or they maybe just never respond to my first initial message, I move them over to contacted, because I talk to so many people. As you can see, there's 900 people, and tons of people have been moved up to other pipelines, that I don't want to accidentally message somebody a second time. So I put them in there. So when I go to add a new person, if I start to type their Instagram name, it'll show me that the person is already in there. So I'm like, crap, I don't want to message that person again. So, okay. What else? So in order to do this, you obviously have to have your contact list. Don't when you do these stages, don't have 15 stages. Like even this is like the max that you need. And in the webinar, I teach you kind of how to make them, how to change the colors, all of that stuff. Okay. So what you do when you add each person, what you can do, and I'm not going to go over it, but I do go over it in the webinar, is instead of hand putting each person in there, what you can actually do is you can use Numbers or Excel, and this is a list for my ConvertKit, but you can add the person's Instagram name. So you would have to put name and then notes. And then, so let's say you have your list of 30 people. So what you can do, this is for an email marketing thing, but you could put notes, because you wouldn't put email because you don't have their email. And then you could take your list that you have and put their name, put the notes about them. Name, notes about them. And so then once you have them, then the notes that I put are like how many followers they have, how I found them. So I found them through the Yoga Mom hashtag. If in their bio, I usually put whatever in their bio. So they're from Boston, or they have an English Bulldog. I kind of put that in there so I remember kind of who they are. So then what you can do is you can do this thing where you export it as a CSV. And again, I know you guys are probably like, what in the world is that? But I'm just letting you know you can, so you don't have to individually put people in there. Then you export it, and then you can go here and you upload it, and it says import boxes from CSV, and you literally wait, and it goes boom, all your 30 people are in Google Streak. And then you can kind of go from there in terms of setting reminders. But I go over that in the webinar. So let's say you're going to add a new person. Again, if you want to individually add a person, you just click whichever stage you want to add them in, which is going to be the first one. Click here, click new box, and let's just put myself. So One Fit Coconut, and you guys can totally follow me if you want help with, a lot of stuff in terms of, posting on Instagram. If you're not really familiar with like Instagram stuff, if you want to get better at it, you can totally follow me. I feel like Instagram is my jam. So I know a lot of people I don't want you to follow me and compare my page to your page, but if you want to follow in terms of like inspiration, getting ideas, totally fine. So it's just One Fit Coconut. But it's okay. So let's say I add me. I have like 15,000 followers. So I put 15K. I have an English Bulldog, and I have PCOS. Okay. So put that information in there. So then let's say you have your 30 people, you made a contact list, you added everybody in here. You put each note about them, you put their name. So then what you do with everybody is there's this little box over here, and this opens up their box. It opens up all the information about them. It shows you the days that they've been in the stage, which is really important because for you to remember, this is why pen and paper isn't good, because you can write people's name down, but you're not going to remember how long they've been on your piece of pen and paper. You can sit there and do check marks like you're in a jail cell and like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, but nobody wants to do that. So this will tell you, and I love this because I'll go through my reminders, and when I go through stuff, it'll be like, this person's been in your thing for 30 days. And I'm like, oh my God, I haven't even invited this person to like a clean eating group yet. So I know to just go and invite them. You know what I mean? Like if I'm building that conversation, I'm like, okay, they've been in here long enough. I need to invite them, which is the cool thing about the days and stage. So what I do is I click, hover over the plus sign. Do not click the plus sign. I don't know why it's like weird. It does weird things, but all you have to do is hover over the plus sign, go to the checkbox. This checkbox, which is task. Do not worry about any of these other icons. None of them matter. They do not matter. All you want to do is hover over that plus sign and then click task. What it's going to do is it's going to bring up this little side thing, which is your reminder box. So what you have all your 30 people, you've sent your initial message, hey, oh my gosh, I love your page. So what you're going to do to continue this ADOS formula is to check in with each person 2 days later. So let's say I sent all the messages today on a Tuesday. So then what I'm going to do is I click the little timestamp, I click the calendar, and I go 2 days from today. So that would be Thursday. So I click Thursday. I hit set due date. It's going to say follow up. So then in 2 days, I'm going to get a reminder, and where those reminders come in is in your updates folder. I'm going to get a reminder that says follow up. So like right now I have 23 new messages. Now I did have, I think, like 14 of them. So I have 37 total. So later on today, I'm going to go through all of these people. These are all my contacts. I do this with Facebook, with email. This is how I keep track of every single one of any person I've ever talked to in my entire life. So then all your reminders come into the updates folder. So then every day, and I suggest setting the reminder for 8 a.m. every day, or if you plan on checking this at whatever time, do it at a super early time, so maybe 5 a.m., 6 a.m., so that when you go to check it, like you don't want to be checking it at 6 a.m., but set the reminders at 6 a.m., because then you're going to be getting random emails and you might miss somebody. So make sure you put it at a time where you're already going to get all these update reminders. So let's say you did all your 30 people. You have to set a reminder with each person. So it does take a little bit, but that's why I say when you sit down each Sunday and let's say you build your contact list, you send all your messages, and then you set all your reminders, you are solid for the week. All your people are already there. You're going to get reminders. You don't have to worry about who you're checking in with, who to invite, who to do what with. It's already going to be there in your updates folder. So then let's say it's 2 days later, and you get all your updates and you're like, there's my 30 people. I'm going to check in with all of them. So what I do is I click on, let's find an Instagram person. I'm going to get that reminder for myself. What? Okay. So let's go to this person. So this is an Instagram person, obviously. And you can see here, it'll say like Instagram contacts, Facebook contacts. So then it gives you this and it says check in. So what I do is I go, let me bring up this again. Okay. So then I go to Instagram and I do this with all my 30 people. So then I go to search really quick. What's her name? I think it was Can't Fake Fitness. Oh no, that was somebody different. So can't reach it. Put it over here. Okay. So her thing was Mama Mooney 2. Okay. So then I click on her, click on this top part up here, the 3 little dots, click send message, and then it's going to bring up the messages. Now this girl I've been talking to for a while, so I actually deleted her messages and we're already talking somewhere else. But so let's just say I sent the first initial message. So it would say, you know, whatever I said, like, oh my God, I love your page. And let's say she responded. So then I would just do the process that I talked about. I would respond back. So then I respond back. And then I go to here, I click the little check mark, and it's going to bring me up the reminder. It's going to be red because it already happened. And then I'm going to click, I'll just skip over her because it doesn't really matter. So then I click check in again, and then I do 2 days later. because I'm going to do that for about a week. And you'll see it in the days and stage that you've been doing this with a person for a week. And then after that week, you will do invite to Facebook. So I just do check-in every 2 days. So I checked in with her 2 days later. I'm going to do 2 days later from there. And then what I do when I know it's been about a week, then after I've checked my updates and it's been every 2 days, then I go to the reminder and I do invite to Facebook. So then I do it again 2 days later. So when I get that reminder 2 days later, I don't have to remember to invite to Facebook. My reminder is going to remind me to invite to Facebook. And I have a script saved in the notepad section of my phone. That is my Facebook invite. That is enough characters, because I think there's only a certain amount of characters that you can send through Facebook. So then I go, and I'll show you guys, if you don't have scripts either on your computer or both on your computer and your phone, you need to. So then I go to my notes section of my phone. So I'm like, okay, I get the reminder. Let's say it's a week later. I go to, those are my hashtags. I go to scripts. So I have my first message I send. I have shout out messages, a PCOS message, a coach invite. So then I go to Facebook message. I copy it, copy the whole thing. Then I paste it in her message and invite to Facebook. And then once I'm done that, I like, let's say it's again 2 days later, and I usually check in 2 days later when I'm doing everything on Instagram. So then I do check in for Facebook, because I invited her to Facebook. I want to see if she responded and gave me her Facebook. So I do that. And then once, like, let's say she responded and she was like, yes, oh my gosh, let's be Facebook friends. So I go find her on Facebook. I send her a request. And then what I do is I go here, I click on the name. So you click on the name, and again, it opens up the box. So in case anybody didn't see that. So once you're here, you just click on her actual name and it opens up the box. So then what I do is I copy her name. I put it here under Instagram, so I remember her Instagram handle, and then I type her Facebook name in this top part. And then what I do is I click this little box, which says move box. I click it, and I move her to Facebook contacts. Again, I go through all of this, how to set up all the pipelines and set up all these things. So if you guys are like, I don't have all that stuff yet, it's okay. Then I move her over to Facebook, because now she is a Facebook contact. And I still have her Instagram name, but Facebook is like the ultimate be all end all of where I want my people. I do want their email as well, but I want people in Facebook. So even if I have their email, even if I have their Instagram, that's cool. And I'll put their Instagram here, I'll put their email here, but I always try to get everybody to Facebook. If not, then I just keep them where I have them. But I move them over to Facebook, and then I put her Facebook name here. So that's really how I go through that process. I do the same with coach invites. I do, let me see what the notes that I have. I do that with, coach invites. If I do, invite to coaching, if I have a clean eating group coming up, whether they're in Instagram or they're in Facebook, I'll set a reminder that says, invite to clean eating group. And the cool thing is, and this is what I so love about Google Streak, is let's say it was Wednesday before my clean eating group, because I know that's always the day I send all my invites. So what I do is I go up here and I do CEG, which is clean eating group, because if I have it in there, like as you can see, I've already searched it, it says invite to clean eating group. So on Wednesday, because there's going to be other updates in the folder. As you're starting to use Google Streak more, you're going to use them for different things. But what I do is I do clean eating group. And then what it does is it brings up all the Streak people that are just the clean eating group people. So then I can just open up those Streak people. And now obviously these people aren't there because it's not that Wednesday. But on that Wednesday, there'll be like 30 boxes that will say invite to clean eating group. Now there will be some other boxes that will be like this person is a different kind. It says commented on clean eating group post. That's one of the things that's in her notes. But you'll see it'll say invite to clean eating group, and you only open up those. And then what I do is I open it up, find out whether they're on Instagram or Facebook, copy paste, send my clean eating group invite, and then I clean out all those people, and I've already done all my clean eating group invites. So that's really helpful as well. So about just some of the boxes, the notes are really, really important. I love having the notes, whatever pipeline you have them in, email, Facebook, whatever, the notes are so important. The reason why they are important, because you know what they're interested in. If you talked about something, you can put it in their notes. If somebody said that they have a wedding coming up in June, I will literally put that in there. So then, and sometimes I'll even set a reminder for, like, even if I'm still going to talk to them now, if they say they have a wedding, or like, let's say their sister's getting married in August and it's only May, I'm going to set a reminder for like 3 months in advance. So when it comes to the week before their wedding, or maybe like 3 weeks before the wedding, I'm going to message them and be like, hey, how excited are you for the wedding? I was wondering if you'd want to do a 3-day refresh. This is why pen and paper cannot do this for you. I can see, and not seeing, that sounds awful. I can be so much more caring and like thoughtful for people because I can write so much stuff in the notes and I can do so many reminders in the reminders thing. It helps me so much. So you can use that. And the more people you talk to, the harder it's going to be for you to remember. That's why these things keep you so organized. What else? Another side note, if they happen to be international, if you message someone and maybe you're doing this whole ADOS formula and then you don't find out they're international until like you invite them to like a challenge group, don't forget about them. What I do, because Beachbody's going to go international eventually, I will type their name, or in their notes, I'll put international and then I'll put what country they're from. So I'll put international UK, international Australia. So, and then I don't build a relationship with them anymore because I don't need to worry about that right now. But when we go international, I have hundreds of people that all I'm going to do is go up here and type international, and all of these people are going to come up, and I'm going to send them each a message and be like, hey, guess what? Beachbody just went international in your country. So do not forget people when they go international. Just keep them in your Google Streak. Again, not something pen and paper can do. And even if you do write it, you're going to have a messy notebook that has spilled coffee on it, and it's going to be a hot mess. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be, all over the place for that. So, I think that's really about it. Like I said, I go over all the other platforms and everything else, and there's so many other details. There's really cool stuff in terms of email, because this Google Streak was really just created, and people always ask, do I have to have somebody's email to put them in Google Streak? No, you do not. But it has this little thing, which are snippets, which literally keep your little scripts in here for you. I have so many scripts. So if somebody sends me their email on Instagram and says, hey, I'm interested in your challenge group, I'm going to type their email, and then I'm going to go, oh, they're interested in my challenge group. I know I have that under confidence because it's interested in cleaning or challenge group. It's going to give the subject, give that, and I'm going to hit send. And it's going to take me 5 seconds to send an email that most people are retyping 75 times. So it saves me so much time. I have the price of Shakeology, and I have all my objections in there as well. So if someone says they don't have time, someone says they can't afford something, I have literally everything in there. I keep a script for everything. So I go over how to make the snippets. Another cool thing is tracking is with Google Streaks. So there's a little eyeball that tells you if somebody opened up your email or not. It literally will turn the eyeball either green, or it won't be colored at all, it'll just be gray. And you know if somebody answered or looked at your email, which is pretty cool as well. But I go over all of that stuff. So that's really about it, guys. I feel like I did a really good time. I talk so long, so I'm so glad I kept that under time. So let me scroll up and see any questions. And if anybody has any questions, if you want to unmute yourself, that's fine. If you just want to type in the chat box, that's okay too. How do you access Streak from your phone? You can, there's an app, but it's really not that great. I use it occasionally. Like if let's say I'm, out somewhere and I accidentally open up an Instagram message, and Instagram's so annoying that you can't like mark as unread. So I don't want to forget to respond to that person. So I'll go to the Google Streak app and like add their box and do everything, but it's really not that great. They have a lot to do with developing that app. It works, but it's annoying. You have to use your desktop. So many people are like, I just want to work from my phone. I know I love Gary Vaynerchuk and he's all about working from your phone, but in order to use Google Streak, you have to be working from your desktop. You just have to. It just works that way. I'm telling you right now, like you can occasionally use it from your phone if it's an emergency, but if you're thinking that you can use this from your phone, just don't do it then, because you just can't. I don't know about Asana or Teamsy, how their apps work, because I know those are similar things, but I don't use it, so I don't teach it. I don't know. You would have to totally figure that on your own. So there is a Streak app, but it's just really not that great. Do you not really do initial invites on Facebook, just on Instagram? Well, I'm not exactly sure about your message, but if I'm reading it correctly, that's actually the complete opposite of what I do. I really suggest you do not invite on Instagram. Don't do it unless the person doesn't have Facebook. But every other Beachbody coach and It Works and all these other people are inviting on Instagram. Yes, it does take a little bit of extra time. That's a note I want to make about this process, is that this is not something that you're going to do for 2 weeks and it's going to start working. This is a delayed gratification process. Honestly, this process really doesn't start picking up really good steam for 2 to 3 months. But once you have it, it will make you kick so much ass, especially if you do it really well and you'll learn it as you go. You're not going to do it amazing at first. What it is, I compare it to, is those old like Dutch waterfalls that it goes under the water or there's like wheels and it picks up the water and then it dumps it out. You're going to be doing this process and building relationships and inviting, and people are going to say no, but you're going to have these people in there and they're not going to say yes this month, but you're going to dump them in the next month. They're going to say no, and you're going to dump them in the next month, and eventually they're going to say yes. But you're going to consistently be adding 30 people each week, 20 people each week. And by the end of the year, you're going to have, so I literally sometimes can go a month without building my contact list, which I don't suggest you guys do. I've just been doing this process for a really long time. I don't even have to add anybody new to my contact list, and I can still hit Success Club 20 because I've been doing this for so long. You know how not stressful that is? I still love building my contact list though. There's just occasionally, like if life ever just got super, super crazy, or I was like doing a lot of stuff with my team because I have a big team. But yeah, so I suggest don't invite on Facebook unless you have to. So I do have like invites I send on or invite on Instagram unless you have to, because some people aren't going to have an Instagram, or not have a Facebook. But I do like inviting on Facebook because it's so much more personable. Like everybody's inviting on Instagram, but I have your Facebook. I know you personally. I know what your dog's name is. I know that you're married. It's so much easier to just invite on Facebook than it is. And then you can send voice messages on Facebook. You cannot do that on Instagram. So I just suggest that you just try to move everybody. I teach this process to so many, and even do it to my team. And I love them, but I want to shake them. They do this and they still invite on Instagram because either they're lazy or they just don't want to spend the extra time. It takes an extra week or two to build a relationship on Facebook. Take the time to do it. Because I do this and then coaches message me and they're like, I'm still getting those. And I'm like, send me your conversations. And all their invites are on Instagram. And I'm like, I told you, move it over to Facebook. So again, if people aren't on Facebook, that's one thing. That's totally fine. And I like to invite on Snapchat too. Because again, feels almost like I have their number in a way, because it's like a little bit more personable to have somebody Snapchat versus doing it on Instagram, which everybody's already doing. When you're finding new contacts, do you search the same 30 hashtags that you use in your posts? No, not necessarily. I just randomly pick one. So if there's a kind of kombucha that you like, or a green tea brand, like I want you to get really specific about, like, for some reasons, it's always food brands that I like. So I'll do like GT's kombucha, or I have a Hydrate water bottle, which is like it's like a $50 water tracking thing, but it's like the best thing ever. Nothing's made me drink more water than this thing. I'll search like these things. Like again, somebody who's going to spend $50 on a water bottle is probably going to spend $130 on a challenge pack. So, but change up the hashtags and do different ones each week. Or if you find one, I always say, if you find something that works, use it until it dries out. So I was using RX bar for the longest time, but again, like that little weird process I taught you guys really works best for me, but still do the hashtags. Don't completely like forget that. But, I was doing RX bar for a while, and like, I was finding so many people, but then it kind of just like, I wasn't really finding anybody. So then I just stopped looking for people that way. So you can use the hashtags that you use on your posts, or you can use different ones. Totally up to you. Just don't use fitness, sweaty, cardio. Like, you can find people, but it's just like, there's going to be so many random like fitness bikini body pages that are just not the kind of people that you're really looking for. Unless that's your target market, then totally go for it. Look, I was looking for people to follow, and all the first 30 people had 50K followers or more. Do you still do that process with large accounts like that? Depends. You kind of want to kind of figure out what works for you in doing that process. If you're finding that many people are liking stuff, maybe go to pictures that have less than 6,000 pictures, or less than 6,000 likes. Like, find pictures that have on that search page on Instagram, find pages that have, maybe 500 or 1,000 likes. And you want to stick to accounts that have similar followers to you. If you have 40,000 followers, then yes, go for 50,000. But if you only have, I have 15,000, and I usually don't go for people that have have over 30,000. Like, that's like my limit. So I suggest, if you have 1,000 followers, don't do people that have over 5,000. If you have 5,000 followers, don't do people that have over 10,000. Like, try to keep it within the limit. Because if you learn from John Maxwell, and it's not like you're not as good as those people, but you will never attract someone that is a higher leadership level than you. And not that somebody who has 10,000 followers is a better leader than you, but it's just the way people's head works. If you have 100 followers and you message somebody that has 20,000, it's not that they don't believe in you. They're just most of the time not going to take you as seriously, even though you probably have something amazing to offer. It's just kind of the way it works. It's just going to make it easier. Now, I do always try to pick a few people that do have a lot, just because you never know who you're going to message that could be like, you know what, this could be really awesome. And maybe somebody never did message them. So I always try to message like a few, but I keep that to like maybe 5 people that I message. I actually have a girl that I'm talking to that has like 30,000 followers, and she just got Shakeology samples from me, and I was scared to reach out to her, but I just did it anyway. And the thing about asking people is the worst thing that they're going to do is say no. That's the worst. So if you guys have a fear of reaching out to people, I always tell my team, if you are using fear as a reason to not reach out to someone, you're being selfish. You're being selfish because someone got over their fear to invite you. The reason you are on this call is because your coach reached out to you. And imagine if they didn't, if they were just like, I'm too scared, I'm not going to invite that one. You guys wouldn't be sitting here right now. So please do not let that fear. And I know it's not just so easy to be like, oh, whatever, screw it. You know what I mean? But you have to remember that. I always think of it as just being so grateful for someone giving me this opportunity. I mean, I used to be homeless, and now I do this full time and make 6 figures. Like, I am so damn grateful that someone got over their fear and reached out to me. So you have to remember that no matter where you are in your business. Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions? I hope that made sense. I know I'm a really fast talker, and sometimes I just like blab on. So I always am worried, am I like coming across? Is it making sense? And if anybody is going through the process and you have questions, just ask in Josh's group. He may be an admin, so I'll kind of like read everything. Just make sure you tag me in it so I can see it, because if not, there's so many notifications, I might miss it. But if you have any questions about anything, please ask. I know you might not have questions now, but you might have questions later. And then I will ask Josh if he wants me to just share the link in the page, or if I could just give it to him and then he can share it when he wants to. So
I actually have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
I actually have 2, so it's kind of long to type. The first one is, do you focus on like hitting a certain number, either like daily or weekly with your invites, or do you only focus on hitting a certain number with adding new contacts and then just following whatever process, comes about, like if they respond back and stuff?
So with this process specifically, I only focus on contacts. Okay. But again, this does not include, because Josh says like with your guys' tasks for this group, like you guys have to be sending 10 new invites a day or something like that. Mm-hmm. So that has to be a number that you still focus on. Like, I don't want you to be like, oh, Alexa said 30 contacts, I'm not going to worry about those 10 invites. You still have to do that. And I do too. So like, I literally have on my planner, I have send 20 cold invites a week. So that doesn't include this process whatsoever. Right. I send 20 cold invites to people who either liked my post or random people that I pick on Facebook. And I was always scared of sending cold invites and do not send cold invites on Instagram. Instagram is totally different than Facebook. When you're already somebody's Facebook friend, you're technically somewhat more connected with them than somebody you randomly found through a hashtag. So with cold invites, there's no emotional connection. How much does it drive you crazy to build a relationship with a person, get to know them, and think like, oh my God, they're so going to be a good coach or challenger. And then you invite them and they're like, ew, no, that's gross. And you're like, oh, I just spent all that time building the relationship with them. With cold invites, there's no emotional attachments. You can message someone on Facebook and just say, hey, I don't know if you'd be interested. I know this is really random, but would you be interested? And then they say no. And it's like, okay, cool. I didn't just spend 3 weeks building a relationship with you. So if you're worried about cold invites, please just start sending them, because it's just good to get them out. But anyway, I really just focus on the contacts, and the other stuff, I make sure that I'm hitting a certain number of invites per week.
Okay. Yeah. Cause that's something that I'm like really trying to do, is add more to my contacts. Cause I feel like I'm reaching out and following up with the same people over and over, especially on Facebook. So I've really moved over to Instagram, because I feel like you, like that is my jam. I feel like I can find more people. It's just, it flows better for me. So when you do your cold invites, are they only people who like engage with your posts? Cause like I have a lot of people that are like either coaches or like the same people I reach out to that like and comment on my stuff.
Yeah. So it depends really. Depends on the kind of post I'm doing. Like if I'm sometimes I do a post and it gets like a ton of likes. Other times I'm not really post, because I don't do Facebook as much. So sometimes I'm more so on Instagram. So sometimes I don't really have that many people that are engaging. So I don't really have that many people to invite. So what I do, the way I send my cold invites are probably like 3 separate ways. One, I go through my likes for just the past week. Because like I said, I bulk invite. You guys are taught to invite every day, and I'm not don't want to change what you're doing, because you have to do that. You have to. But I bulk invite. So if you guys are sending 10 invites a day, I'm probably doing the same thing, just all in one day. So I usually do it on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Thursday is usually when I send my invites. And I just go through all my posts from the past week, click the likes, open in a new tab, everybody who I notice is new or who I haven't had a conversation with. And then I send my invites that way. And I literally do a tally mark of everybody I sent off. And I don't add any of those people to Streak unless they respond, because before I was adding them to Streak and then setting a reminder, and then they didn't respond and it didn't matter anyway. So I only add them to Streak if they respond. So okay. I do a check mark until I've done all those. And then I go to my Facebook groups. And Alexis Wayland, she's a good friend of mine. She's a coach that does really great with Facebook groups. She taught me this A to Z formula by either going through your Facebook friends or going through Facebook groups and typing in the search box of the members of the group or your friends list, like AA, AB, AC. So instead of looking through 15,000 people in a group, you're just doing AA, and it lists all the people that are AA names, AB names, AC names. And I do that, and I just invite people that way. Again, with Facebook groups, I'm more adding those people as friends, and then I invite them later on. It's because I would never really message someone who I'm not even friends with on Facebook. So I do that with my friends list. So when I'm doing my cold invites, I'll go to my friends list after I'm done doing the likes, and I'll type AA, AB, or sometimes I'll just randomly do it. I'll do like DC and TA, like just whatever I feel like that day. Because you'll be able to highlight it and click message. And if you already messaged that person, then you don't need to message them. But then I'll do it that way. And I do it until I've hit my number of how many invites I want to send. And I also do cold coach invites, which is like the scariest thing. But it's literally just kind of like, hey, I'm looking to build my tribe. I don't know if you would know anybody who would be interested in this, blah, blah, blah. But those are more so people who have kind of been like tracking and looking at their page. It's kind of harder on Facebook. That's why I love Instagram so much, because you already can see if somebody's posting on Instagram about health and fitness. But those are the ways that I do that. I just do it until I found my number. So
yeah. Well, one more question. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm taking up all your time.
No, my God, I like questions, so it doesn't matter.
Do you reach out to any of your followers? So like, do you go through your followers and say, hey, thanks for the follow, and try to start a conversation?
That's what everybody always asks. And surprisingly, I never have ever. And I don't know why, because I feel like that would be a smart thing to do, because if someone's following you, they obviously like your page for a reason. So I've just never done it because I'm just such in a groove with my system, but it's always been something in the back of my mind. And I suggest that you guys do. Because you can still do that process. And so I taught you guys this process about finding someone and then sending a message that says, hey, your page is so awesome. So what you can do is send the same kind of message, but say, hey, I just saw, that you just saying thanks for the follow, and something you can say, which a lot of people do, and I was doing in the beginning of this process, instead of being like, oh my gosh, where did you get those leggings? You can just say, hey, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate the love. Are you, on a health and fitness journey yourself? That's something you can ask, because I know Josh kind of talks about that. So you can do that as well. I just have never really done that, but I think it's a great way to do it, because again, if someone's already following you, to click the follow button is a bigger deal than to just like your page. So, or to like a post. So you can totally do that if you want. I just never have, but not because I don't want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course. Anybody else have any questions? No. Okay, awesome. So like I said, I'll let Josh know about the webinar. If you guys have any questions about anything, totally ask in the page, tag me. Like I said, I'm One Fit Coconut if you want to check out my page, if Instagram isn't your jam and you just want to kind of learn, and not that I'm the end all be all of anybody. I love it, and I've been doing it for a really long time, so you can totally check that out. But thank you so much for taking out time in your Tuesday afternoon to hang out with me. I hope that you learned something. My biggest tip for anything, whenever I do a team call or I speak or anything, is please do not let all of this just be notes on a piece of paper. If you don't like the idea of it, then that's one thing. But if you liked it and you're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome, where everybody always says, I need this. If you needed this, please go out and implement it. Find a way to start making this happen now. Don't put it off. Do it now. The people who are going to do it now, and this is just being honest, 80% of you won't do this. You won't do it. You'll say it's a great thing, but you won't do it. And not being mean, I'm just being honest. That's how the things always happen. People go to Summit and love the experience and never do anything after. So be one of the 20% of people that actually goes out and makes it happen, that changes your business, that uses all the things that Josh teaches to make things happen. So thank you guys so much. I hope you kick so much butt in the rest of Josh's group. He is so amazing. So please soak up everything that he has to offer. And if you need anything, just let me know. Peace. Bye, guys.